Toucher and Hardy.
We're the best friends that can be, my buddy and me.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. Giannis has been traded, but not to the Celtics.
Oh,
that's right. He was traded to Milwaukee, or I'm sorry, he's traded to Miami, along with Bobby Portis for Tyler Hero. 3 other guys and 3 first-round picks in a pick swap and a second-rounder. The Celtics, John, is not rumored, but stated to be offering what?
According to reports overnight, the Celtics' final offer was Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round draft picks.
Okay. And so
Jimmy Haslam, the owner, didn't like that.
Right, because he didn't want Brown. He didn't think he was a young enough superstar to justify the trade. Apparently, they were looking at. I've heard Evan Mobley, or the kid from Orlando, Paolo Banchero.
Yeah,
right. Because even if you're not looking to be good right away, if you're offered, one of the quote unquote guys, then you take them and you figure it out.
Right.
So it was a combination. I didn't think they're all that interested in being good right away, which is why they wanted picks and why they wanted stuff to package up going forward. But had there been a player in there and there was like, oh, wait a second, maybe we can do both. Maybe we can be really good right away and we can, be building for the future.
Well,
but they're I think you're right, Fred. I think they weren't, all that enthused at the idea of having Jaylen Brown here and being that much of a difference maker to where they could do both. So no, they're gonna build.
Well, they're not going to be good for a very long time because these picks won't be good 5-6 years. So it wasn't ideal.
It's all about breaking even. Remember, they gave all those first-round picks away in that dumbass Damian Lillard trade. And now, because they got at least 3 and maybe 4 first-round picks back, it's breaking even. They had to show something for this, and this is a makeup for a horrible trade that killed them.
Yeah, if they keep all those picks, then it's going to be a very long time before they even have a chance to be good. But the fact that they have picks now, they can use those in different ways to maybe accelerate the process.
And the other part of it is Tyler Hero is entering the last year of his deal. And the thought is they flip him for at least one more first-round pick or another a really good young player. Well, Hero's a really good young player, but his contract is up. So maybe they can still get some help out of this.
Well, the Celtics thought they could get him because they wouldn't have been this heavy on him, and they thought that they thought Jaylen Brown would. I mean, obviously, they thought Jaylen Brown had more value than Milwaukee thought that he did. They desperately wanted to make the Giannis deal get done, and the Bucks were not interested. And so that is where it stands. A bit of an ego blow if you're Jaylen Brown, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
A, the team that you're on doesn't want you.
He was live streaming again yesterday, man.
And B, the team that that they wanted to trade you to didn't want you. They wanted Tyler Hero and a bunch of picks that are probably not going to be very good for a very long time, if at all. In Milwaukee, I mean, they could expedite the process, I guess, in theory, by trading first-round picks. But, I mean, Milwaukee might not be good again for close to 10 years. Who knows?
Milwaukee does that. They're going to be bad, and they don't have control of their own first-round picks.
And they have Miles Turner.
Yep.
And he's owed a lot of money.
Yep.
They're very bad. So this is not reflecting well on Jaylen Brown. I mean, I understand that he's 29, and I understand that Milwaukee's rebuilding. But Milwaukee, in theory, would have liked the star, and they did not want Jaylen Brown. And obviously the Celtics thought they would, or they wouldn't have made this offer as hardcore as they did. They didn't do it for fun. They didn't do it to drive the price up in Miami. And now Miami's better. Not probably championship better, but better in the East. Like they have two real superstars.
Yep. And they got a bunch of, we can go over it if you want, but they got a bunch of nice role players around them, but the really good role players are in their 30s at this point. The window is small.
Well, also they're going to lose that sixth man of the year guy. Apparently, they're going to
Jaquez, who was a runner-up for sixth man of the year last year, went to Milwaukee.
Right, but apparently they also have a free agent to be in the front court that could be leaving. I don't know. All this information came in very late last night.
Andrew Wiggins.
Not Wiggins. No,
Norman Powell.
Norman Powell.
Powell's an unrestricted free agent. He was an all-star last year.
Right, Norman Powell. That's who they're thinking that they're going to lose. So, but if you read ESPN and their grading of the draft, they have many, many winners and many, many losers.
The ultimate.
And one of the losers is the Boston Celtics. And after the Celtics were heavily linked to Giannis rumors this week, they ultimately watched the Eastern Conference rivals, won the bidding war. The rest of the league should be relieved. Giannis and Tatum would have given the Celtics the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. The Celtics could have desperately used Giannis's downhill attacks to balance an offense that became overly three-point dependent during its first-round flameout. And he also would have helped address some of Celtics' interior defense problems. Celtics president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens, must now sort through the options with Jaylen Brown. Does he find another trade or try to mend fences?
I still think there was a point that Brad Stevens was not willing to go to. We were talking about this yesterday morning. The ball was in the Celtics' court. They had the best package in theory before we knew Jimmy Haslam's feelings about Jaylen Brown. I think if Brad Stevens wanted to, he could have pushed this across the finish line.
How if they didn't want Brown?
Well, as I said,
but John, you can't say both. You can't say the Celtics could have gotten him if they wanted Brown.
But you keep saying they didn't want Brown, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, they didn't want Brown.
Well, you don't know that that's the only reason. Maybe they wanted all the other pieces and all the other.
Yeah, the point is, if the player's good enough, they want to do the trade. And the Celtics thought they could do the trade. They don't want Brown. They might have liked the package better for Miami, but they don't want Brown. They didn't want him. It's a fact. They didn't take him. If a big superstar is available, pick player for player, and the player's younger, and then the Celtics thought they could get him.
What this feels like is it got to a certain point, and then it was put in front of the owner and said, okay, these are our two best options. What do you think? And then the owner stepped in at the last minute and said, I don't want this guy.
Okay,
but we went pretty far down the track with Jaylen Brown as an offer, as a guy who was sitting
fine,
there.
But if the owner didn't want him, then the team didn't want him.
I think
you're splitting hairs. What's the deal with them wanting Brown? They didn't want him. There's no debating it. They probably would have taken him for free, but they didn't want to trade Giannis for him. They didn't do it. If they went in front of the owner, I don't care if it went in front of the fans and they voted online. The team didn't take him.
But following that logic, they would rather have Tyler Hero and a bunch of randos.
Well, yeah, that's what they did. They took Tyler Hero and a bunch of randos.
You can't convince me of that.
Well, that's what the trade they did. I don't understand what the debate is. They didn't take one package and they took the other. They wanted the other package.
Because there was more in the other package.
That's debate. But yes, based on their perception of the value of it. They didn't think Jaylen Brown was as valuable as the pieces that they received in return, which then therefore diminishes the star power of Jaylen Brown. This isn't like an overwhelming package that is lights out, and there's talk of them wanting a superstar in return, just a younger superstar. So they didn't want Brown. The Celtics thought they would want Brown. The Heat chose not to take Brown. I don't understand the splitting of hairs over this. It's like that's the case. It's not an indictment necessarily of Brown. It's just that the Celtics thought that they would want him. They didn't want him bad enough. The Celtics obviously had an idea of what Miami was offering, and they were very much pushing for this deal, according to everyone around the NBA, and the Heat turned it down. They didn't want Brown. They would have taken Brown in a vacuum where there was no other offers, maybe, but they didn't. But they took another offer.
What do you think they should have done? Do you think Milwaukee did the right deal?
I mean, it's all. I don't think this makes Milwaukee very good, and I don't know if what they would have done with. I think if Brown was a star that could carry a team, then they would have taken Brown and built around Brown. And then, you get a couple first-round picks and you get Brown.
The toughest,
and that expedites the process, much like you talked about flipping these first-round picks for talent. This expedites the process.
I think the tough thing for Milwaukee is to convince yourself and convince your fan base that, okay, you had a guy, obviously, that was there that could carry the team. Brown, debatable. I mean, he did carry the team last year to a huge number of wins without Jason Tatum there for...
Carried the team until late February, early March.
Finals MVP and Eastern Conference Finals MVP, so... to say it's not debatable that he's not a guy who... No, I think there's a strong argument.
Right. I said it's not debatable that they didn't want him.
Let me finish. Okay?
But you're changing the argument.
I'm not changing the argument. I'm talking. We're just having a conversation.
We're filibustering.
Well, I learned it from the best.
Thank you.
How's that?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The argument is tough to make in Milwaukee that you're taking one guy who obviously, without question, can carry a team and can be the guy to a guy that maybe not. That he's not Giannis. We all agree that Jaylen Brown is not Giannis. And what else did you get? A couple of first-round picks to go along with it. All right, what's the other option? We're going to get a bunch of crap in here, and we're going to take some time to build this thing, or maybe we package up some of these picks, and we make a big splash here, maybe still this season, maybe it's next year, maybe not, but we've got all this currency now, as opposed to the other deal where you just swap out a lesser player for the superstar and a couple of picks to go with it.
Okay, so let's just go through what you just said then. What you said. Okay, so you don't want Brown, but you have a bunch of picks that you can therefore package up quickly and flip for a star. So what you're just saying is that you want to that the other option is to take the picks and get a star. So you'd want a star other than Brown. If they offered Tatum up, would they have done the deal?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Well, there you go.
They would have done the deal. According to our buddy Kevin O'Connor, it wasn't necessarily the talent, or according to O'Connor's report, it wasn't. He didn't mention it. It was more along the lines of Jaylen Brown not wanting to be there, and Haslam didn't want the headache of dealing with another superstar who wanted out. He wanted certainty with his deal, and even though this deal is just a bunch of picks and a bunch of young guys who may or may not be good, he knows what he's getting with this contract, with this trade, as opposed to Jaylen Brown, who is angry a lot of the time, it would seem, and may want out immediately, and that's another headache he didn't want.
Still, he doesn't. He doesn't want Brown.
It
doesn't matter why he didn't want him.
Yeah, and it's, I think, as much the player as I don't think Brown wants to have his own team, and that was one place where he could have it. But maybe there was some indication he didn't necessarily want to play in Milwaukee. So do you want a guy who
that kind of popped up over the last week?
Yeah, you got a guy who is, kind of already has the reputation, or, well-deserved as being less than content to begin with. Now you're going to put him into a town that he doesn't necessarily want to play in, and we're expecting this to go well? Like, this isn't going to be great.
Then he really is a distressed asset, because if you can only move him to whatever whimsy he has,
right,
because he won't stick around, then he's a distressed asset.
Yeah, well, you could say the same for Tyler Hero and all those other guys. Well, who cares? Who cares what Tyler Hero wants?
Right, exactly.
And actually, it's a homecoming for Tyler Hero.
I was just going to say
homecoming for Tyler Hero, and he's done after the year. So, who cares?
Yeah.
I understand. Again, I'm not saying that I don't understand why Milwaukee took the Miami offer. I understand that that there are all these future assets, and that they had to recoup what they had given up in all these idiotic trades that they had made, and that they don't have any of their first-round picks for years and years. I get all that. I mean, I understand that it was a basketball move. My only point is that it's not even that it was the wrong move to make. I didn't say that. I said the Celtics believed that they had a package, obviously firmly believed that they had a package that Milwaukee would win over anything. And the whole conversation leading into this was And John said it this morning. The Celtics could have done better. The Celtics could have done better. The Celtics had things. Well, that all revolves around Milwaukee wanting Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the linchpin of that piece. He's the thing that Miami just can't get. Miami can stack up 1 million picks and 1 million young role players, and they can do everything else. But the Celtics, after all, have Jaylen Brown, and they just have to sweeten that deal a little bit. And then it turns out that they didn't want Brown. Now, it could be because Brown didn't want to play there. That's fine. That's completely legitimate. They might think Brown's the greatest player of all time, but he didn't want to play there. That's fine. But it all adds up to that's a distressed asset then. Because now if the Celtics go to pivot to move Brown somewhere else, and every other owner around the league's going, he's not going to want to play here unless we're L.A., or wherever the hell else he wants to play, or Memphis. I don't know where the hell he wants to play.
The Clippers were the team that were rumored.
It's got to be, for Brown to be happy, it's got to be a team where it's his team.
And I guess not a Midwestern market. Milwaukee would have been his team, so I don't really know.
Not only would it have been his team, it would have been his team for as long as he wanted.
But Milwaukee must have been at least, somewhat interested in the idea of Brown, or they wouldn't have had the conversations.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
what else you got?
And also playing two teams against each other is helpful in a negotiation. Look, again, it just is all, any way you slice it, it was believed by a lot of people around the league that we've read and we've talked to that the Celtics, by nature of having Brown in the deal, had a superior offer. Just because he's the linchpin. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out they didn't do that. So the Celtics wanted them to do that, and they didn't do it. It's not like Miami had this insane. No one's going, oh my God, the Bucks. This is the most incredible deal ever. Good for the Bucks. 1 million points. A plus. It's like a solid deal. It's a solid deal for the Bucks.
Grades across anywhere B+, but nothing higher than that.
Right. So if they would have traded for Brown, maybe a B-. I don't know. Maybe a B. Maybe some people's. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty much. I can't imagine there would have been a vast difference, or even if the Bucks in some way thought they could flip Brown for more, you make one move and then flip for more, and then just keep kind of like the hero thing,
kicking the can.
Yeah, just keep kicking the can and getting more, I guess, picks that you could use sooner.
Yeah,
and whatever, man. It's all really linguistics, and maybe I misrepresented what I was trying to say.
What you were saying smacked of Brown bashing, and Fred,
which is racist.
I'm not here for.
No, all sarcasm aside, I'm really not here for it. Number one,
I'm not here for it.
There's a good chance.
Not on my watch.
There's a chance. I don't know if it's a good chance. There's a chance he's on this team again next year.
I know that's really a fascinating thing.
You better
He was live streaming during the day yesterday.
That's great.
So this is really something. This is a story to watch, because if they are going to deal him. And Brad Stevens, part of that deal was Brad Stevens saying, okay, he doesn't want to be here.
How do you deal him now if you don't get Giannis back?
I don't know.
How do you sell that to the fan base?
There's no better deal you can possibly make than trading him for Giannis.
Right.
So I don't know.
There's no other player out there that is remotely available that you can trade for that is going to
There's no top 10 player available that you can go
Celtics
get
fans
other than Giannis.
And say, okay, we didn't get Giannis, but we got this guy instead.
Short of dealing him for a pick in the top 3 tonight, which is not going to happen, there's no way you can get better value than you would have gotten from making a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Which is why, this is why they were so open to doing it. Yeah. Because it goes to that theory that they were thinking that you need to, you've read this since the trade, that the Celtics thought they needed to decidedly top 10 players if they were going to carry 2 max deals.
Yep.
And that Brown isn't one of those. So the Celtics...
So go find another one.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah. So the Celtics think they can't really win with Brown as much as they could. It's not the right recipe for the greatest chance of winning. And they saw this golden opportunity to, God shot one of these players that only 8 exist, and you have one of them. So 7 exist. And you had a chance to do it, and you did. You have to think at this point, I don't know if there wasn't a point they wouldn't have gone over. I think at a certain point, you go, this is the deal. Like, come on, we believe that this is enough. And I bet you at whatever the hell this deal went down, I didn't hear about it till this morning, but whenever this deal went down late last night, that the Celtics weren't overjoyed.
No.
I mean, I think they were probably surprised and at least surprised from what their feelings were yesterday morning when you heard everyone around the league talking about how it was going to be the Celtics probably.
And now Brown is here. After live streaming his face off yesterday, Brown is here. He's not happy. Clearly, I don't know how you smooth this over. This is really going to be something.
Which makes me think even more that the Celtics thought that the Bucks would take Brown.
Yeah.
Because they probably thought Brown's value is never going to be this high again. Giannis's value is never going to be this high again.
It seems, looking at it, Brad Stevens thought he probably had a deal because he had Brown, but didn't count on Jimmy Haslam stepping in and saying no. That's what it looks like.
Fine,
right now.
That's very valid. But Jimmy Haslam didn't want Brown.
No, he didn't. I'm just trying to look at it from the Celtics' point of view. The Celtics thought they had a deal. They because they had Brown, they had the better package on the table, and then the owner at the last minute stepped in and said, "I don't want this guy."
Well, that would be unfortunate if that's the way it went down.
Well, I mean, Brown was tied to this for how long, and then all of a sudden they go to Miami at the last minute?
Well, Miami was tied to him since February.
No, but it was between those two teams, and because the Celtics had Brown, they were perceived to have the much better package.
Perceived, yes.
Yeah, and then at the last moment, at least that's the way it reads here this morning, Jimmy Haslam said, "Nope, we want Miami."
Yeah, so interesting. Not great for the Celtics. A lot of phone calls very early. We can get to the phone calls. We will do so in just a moment.
Did you catch a game last night?
What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, we will take some calls, but Hardy, there was a big trade in the NBA last night that did not go the Celtics' way.
No, and this is where we begin. We've been already talking about it this morning. The Milwaukee Bucks are trading Giannis Antetokounmpo, not bad, huh? To the Heat for again. Here is everything that the Heat are sending back. First of all, it's Giannis and Bobby Portis. Mm-hmm. They're both going to Miami for Tyler Hero, Kalel Ware.
Yep.
Jamie Jaquez Jr.
Jaime Jaquez.
Thank you.
Of course.
Kasparis Jakukunanas.
Yakuchonis.
3 first-rounders, which includes the one coming up tonight.
Number 13 overall.
A pick swap and a second-round pick. Now, the Heat are sending those unprotected first-rounders. Those aren't until 2031 and 2033. But as I said, the 13th overall pick is tonight.
Yes.
So, and the pick swap is in 2030 and the second rounders in 2033. So no other teams involved right now. One only has to believe that Milwaukee is building something here, and they're probably not done because, getting Tyler Hero back along with Ware and Jaime and Jakunununas. That ain't doing anything for you.
Ware's pretty good. Ware is pretty good. He averaged a double-double. He's like 23 years old. He shoots 40% from 3. He was a late lottery pick a couple of years ago. He was considered a young, upcoming player.
Yes. And, Tyler Hero is, nice enough player at times, but it's not going to do much for you. So let's see what Shams has on this.
This was a 13-month trade saga for Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. Just to put it plainly, Giannis felt like his time was up with the Bucks a calendar year ago. The Bucks at every turn did everything they could to try to keep him. They fought this right until the end with Giannis to try to win around him. They depleted their assets, their salary books as well. But Giannis informed the team numerous times that it was time for both sides to move on, that he would not sign a long-term contract extension. So now for the Bucks, several weeks ago, they opened up for business. They started negotiating.
They filibuster because they really only have the specifics of the trade, so they have to fill time.
Right. That's called Scheftering.
Yeah, it's just this like litany of like past background that everyone already knows.
Yes. Okay, yes. So what's the other piece of this? What did they turn down from the Celtics?
My understanding is the Celtics aggressively pursued Giannis this draft period cycle. They went after him at the deadline as well, but clearly nothing came to fruition. But at this cycle here with the draft, the Celtics offered Jaylen Brown, the 2024 Finals MVP, and I'm told 2 unprotected first-round draft picks. And so the holdup in those conversations ultimately became the Bucks wanted more assets. They wanted a couple young players, Ugo Gonzalez, Baylor Shireman, potentially others. They wanted more first-round picks, more swaps. But was there a middle ground to be had? But at the end of the day, my understanding is the Celtics were not willing to part with enough young players and assets to get a deal done. The offer stood as Jaylen Brown and a couple first-round picks.
Yeah, they wanted what Miami gave them from the Celtics because they didn't think that Brown was that big a piece.
But now it was back to what I was saying.
Like Baylor Shireman is the difference.
I don't believe Baylor Shireman.
Who was the other player?
Ugo Gonzalez.
Now,
who Cedric loves.
He was their first-round draft pick last year. Gonzalez, apparently, from what I've read over the last 24 hours, is highly thought of.
Right.
He was a very good defensive player this year, but a lot of people think there's more to his game.
I understand, and I understand that the Celtics might have been reticent to part with younger players in addition, but it sounds like the Heat just weren't overly interested.
Yeah, that would have been a much better package if they had included Shireman and Gonzalez. That would have been
Shireman is whatever.
And it would have been worth alienating Brown to keep Shireman and Gonzalez.
So that's what I was talking about earlier. If Brad Stevens wanted to try and force the issue, he would have said, okay, if you don't like Brown, here's a bunch of picks and a bunch of players. But he didn't. He stopped.
Yeah, because he thought ultimately Brown should be worth more than Tyler Hero. So if Miami said we want the Miami trade, or if Milwaukee said we want the Miami trade, but instead of Hero, it's Brown. So you give us Brown, 3 first-round picks, Gonzalez, Shireman, and a pick swap and this and that.
3 first round.
And then they go, well, no, Brown's better than Hero, and they go, I mean, the Celtics probably went, are you out of your mind? We're offering you a guy that was
Finals MVP.
He was
a top 15 player in the league.
He was once the highest paid player in the NBA.
He took a bunch of guys we didn't know if they could play up until last season, and he made them all better all last season, right up until the point where Tatum came back.
Right, and they probably went, huh? And then they went, they're never going to...
Well, we didn't see any of that.
Yeah, and I could imagine that they're like, wait a second, you want us to match Miami's deal, but instead of Hero, it's Brown, and they're like, well, it's the same to us.
To me, this is the more interesting aspect of this, Fred, as opposed to your Milwaukee-based Brown bashing, which is how you really led the program this morning.
With a fury, I might add.
I would say that.
Pretty.
Why is it that Boston is so eager to get rid of Jaylen Brown? And what happens now?
Well, that's
the Boston.
Oh, sorry.
There is going to be fallout from this, some hard conversations, because for the second time in 4 years, the Celtics have offered Jaylen Brown, their co-star with Jason Tatum, in a trade. Back in 2022, the Celtics offered Jaylen Brown in a package for Kevin Durant, now for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And so the tables are a little different now because Jaylen Brown is a Finals MVP. He just came off a year where he was a MVP finalist as well. And so there are going to be some conversations now moving forward. Jaylen Brown is extension eligible in July. We'll see where things go from here.
Bunch of nothing. By the way, I heard Felger Maz talking about this yesterday, and it was nodding in agreement when they were talking about the proposed trade for Kevin Durant in 2022 that would send Jaylen Brown. And Felger, Maz, Jay Stu all said, I don't remember that. And I'm like, me neither.
I don't remember that either.
You know what? I follow the NBA pretty closely. I don't remember that either.
They offered up Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant 4 years ago?
And that was like widely reported and like a fact that it wasn't just preliminary conversation, that they went, oh, like this is like they have a package on the table involving Brown. I think that would have been bigger news.
Big Jim was the only one that remembered it. And I'm like, I don't remember that.
I don't remember it either.
It seems like it would have been very big news.
But yeah, all right. Let's take a couple phone calls. Stanley, go ahead, Stanley.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Hello.
So I told Ferger last night, or before the show went out for the day, I said the Celtics were playing chicken with the Bucks, and you have to see it in this point of view. Pat Riley has been pump faking with the whole Kevin Durant situation. He thought he could mafia his way to have Portland trade Dame, even though Dame wanted to come to Miami. That fell through. And you also got to look at it like this, sir. The Bucks needed to recoup from that terrible Damian Lillard trade, and the Celtics offer was not something they wanted, period. Because when you look at it, they need all these assets to rebuild. They didn't want to do this.
Right. That's obviously what the case is, but the Celtics believed that Brown would sweeten the deal to the point where they'd want the deal.
But my thing is, too, and this is the conversation, you, Felger, and what's his name? The guy that loves food just like I do? Murray. We all come to the conclusion that it's either they were trying to ante up, make Miami spend more money, or
so they wanted to. They won
chess.
They've alienated one of their superstars to get Miami to give up another first-round pick.
We made Miami overpay. Well done, everyone.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And all they got in return was Giannis.
The Miami aspect of
the
this.
team that we're going to face again in the conference finals.
The Miami aspect of this is great. Pat Riley's in his 80s now. He doesn't care. He's right. Lillard wanted to go to Miami. Miami didn't have enough to get him, so he went to Milwaukee instead. And now Pat Riley, who he doesn't have many years left running this team, has decided, I'm going all in. I don't care. And he's assembled a team that's better, but not championship caliber.
I just think it's odd that you would be putting Riley and Spoelstra as like idiots that are just like foolish and foolhardy. Like they're this like Dallas 2 years ago, or with the trade of Doncic. Like it's just this incompetent GM. I mean, Riley's had a lot of success. I don't doubt that he's old and he wanted a superstar very badly, but
over the years he's gotten some pretty good players.
Right, he's had a little success.
Well, part of the problem is it's been 7 years since LeBron left, and he's been hunting for someone since then.
Well, we'll see where the Celtics. How long has it been since they won a title? We'll see where they are in 5 years.
Yeah, but
then we can talk about 7 years.
This isn't the NFL. This isn't the Major League Baseball where you spend $500 million to get one bat. This is the NBA. Did you get the player? Yes. Then you did a good job. You got him. You got Giannis. I mean, there's conversations to be had about the amount that you had to give up, but you got him there.
You want to talk about pushing your chips to the center of the table? That's what Miami did. They traded all their young talent, almost all of it, to Milwaukee in this deal. And you have, Giannis and Bam was crowding 30 and a couple other guys in their early 30s. This is it. You have maybe a 2-year window to get it done, and they're not good enough.
Well, the thing is that they felt that once we get Giannis, we can figure it out. Sure. I'd rather figure it out from there.
Sure.
Because if they don't make this move, then fine. Where are they at if they don't make this move? They have a bunch of picks 5 years from now. They felt the biggest return they could get for those assets.
They've been mediocre for a long time now. I understand the reason for it. What I'm telling you is, it's really fun to look at because this is it. This is I have 12. The dealer is showing a face card, and I'm putting all my chips in the center of the table anyway.
Okay,
That's
but
all.
you're positioning this as if like the Celtics didn't want the same player. The Celtics wanted the same player. I don't think it's fair to say like Riley's being irresponsible and this is such a weird move when A, his track record, and B, the Celtics wanted the same player.
I'm not positioning it that way. All I'm saying is it's fun to look at from the
sure.
That's all. That's all.
The weird thing is for the Celtics, while you would have been improving, you don't need the player. You still have 2 top players. So that's why I'm still struggling with what is it with Boston wanting Jaylen Brown out so badly.
I don't. Listen.
That's the real story of the morning.
Yeah, I don't know why they want him so much either. but they want him out. They certainly do. And I got to believe that they thought that they were going to get him out. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't buy any of this stuff Shams is saying. Yesterday at 9 a.m., he had a dead certainty Celtics were making the trade. Then all of a sudden at midnight, it's Miami, and Miami's emptied the cupboard. I think Milwaukee is going to be better than Miami at the end of the year.
No, that's not true. That's definitely not true.
What are you doing on buy? But what don't
Miami
you
got
buy?
for shooting now.
Huh?
But Giannis doesn't have a mid-range game.
Yeah, but I don't know what
one-
Shams, what that the Celtics weren't really offering Jaylen Brown, that was all misreported. I don't understand what he's talking
I
about.
don't either.
What does he not buy? The trade happened.
Fred's not going to stand for any sham bashing. He's a huge Sham Charania guy.
Just the hair and the leather jacket that he's always got on. I mean, if you're going to filibuster, not you, him, if you're going to filibuster, I don't want to use the term twice, but he filibusters. I was sarcastic with you. But Shams gets on like Schefter, and they got one piece of news that takes 10 seconds to read, and they got to fill a minute.
Yeah, they tell him, you fill a minute, go.
Yeah, and so you give like a background, and basketball was invented.
Here's the deal. Giannis, Greek. Greece, the country, not the movie. He didn't step out of the court at Rydell High as much as he stepped out of the streets of Athens. See, that's 12 seconds right there.
And they get a 13th pick in this year's draft, and if you'll recall, Giannis as a skinny kid out of Greece was taken with the 18th pick or whatever.
15, I think. Yeah.
There you go, 15th pick in the draft, and remember that?
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. So it's really recouping. They've improved their draft position.
He talks funny, and he costs money, and you're going to have to pay him wherever he goes.
And that ain't funny.
And where he's going is Miami, Florida.
Well, you guys are good at this.
Yeah.
Someone get a camera.
I rhymed funny with funny, so I don't.
That's all right. I didn't. No one noticed.
All right. So there's a lot of people lined up on the phones, which is exciting because it's June 23rd, and who would have known? But there's a big story brewing. Giannis has been traded to Miami, and the Celtics are left on the sidelines wondering what they're going to do now, which Brown has already been on, which we'll get into. He's already been on live streaming. Everyone's a lunatic. Brown's a lunatic with this live streaming. It's not smart. And by the way, if they didn't want Brown, again, just to reiterate, if it's true they didn't want Brown because they didn't think Brown wanted to play there, that's a problem too.
Yeah.
Because you want to move him, and now teams like, well, he's a head case. He's not going to want to be here.
And are the Celtics lunatics for presumably siding with, this is one theory out there, siding with the Mazzulla-Tatum tandem because they want to play a certain way, and Brown maybe wants to play the game a little bit differently. And they're like, no, we're all in on Crazy Joe and Jason, and if Tatum's not on board, we got to get him out of here.
But Giannis would have changed the way Mazzulla plays in theory because they wouldn't have been as 3-point heavy. So, they're banking on Tatum. They certainly value Tatum more than Brown.
Yes.
I don't know the Mazzulla piece of that because Giannis, fundamentally, one of the improvements that he would have made is they wouldn't have been as reliant on 3-point shooting because that's not his game. So that's probably why they wanted him, right?
I would imagine that's part of it, sure.
So you pivot. Look, someone's going somewhere. Mazzulla, Brown, Tatum, someone's going somewhere. So we'll see what happens. We'll be right back. Here are the headlines. We had news break overnight. From a personal standpoint, just in my personal proclivities, I was very disappointed when I got up this morning and I heard a tease that Giannis had been traded. And then it came down that he had been traded to the Miami Heat for a package of Tyler Hero, some pretty good young players, and a bunch of three distant first-round picks. Well, one tonight, but it's 13. And then, in the 2030s. So the thing about it is that the Celtics, they had offered Jaylen Brown and a couple first-rounders. And the Bucks, any way that it's being reported, either Jimmy Haslam, the new owner of the Bucks, who owns the Flying J franchise, that's how he made his money. He's a wonderful Knoxville resident who also owns the Browns and is a terrible owner there. He nixed the deal, which it still doesn't matter who nixed it. Someone nixed it. And it doesn't matter if it's Haslam, if it's the GM, or if it was a public vote. I think we all agree on this. It's not good for Brown's ego.
No, I agree with that.
Because even if he didn't want to play there, see, if he didn't want to play there, it's almost as bad as anything else, because it's like, well, now he's causing all this fuss here, and then he don't want to go there. So what the hell are you going to do with him? You obviously wanted to get rid of him, at least for Giannis, right? Like, I don't know if they just blanket want to get rid of him, but that's because I don't know that. You could argue that, but no one knows but them, and I don't know anyone who knows. We can ask B-Rob when he comes on, but they tried to move him, and the Bucks said no, we don't. And it sounds like the Bucks, according to Shams, who is the authority on all these things, wanted the deal sweetened with young players. And at a certain point, if the Celtics were offering up 2 first-round picks in Brown, and the Heat were offering up 3 first-round picks, Hero, and 3 young players, the Celtics at one point said, well, you keep wanting this to sweeten this deal as if Brown wasn't involved in it. Like Brown is worth, these 3 players.
3 Tyler Hero.
Brown is a top 15 player in this league. He should be worth just as much as what you're getting.
According to, us in the press, but maybe not according to front offices in the NBA, because the Celtics, wanted to move him for another player, and the Bucks didn't want him. And, look, would the Bucks take Brown in a vacuum? Don't get tripped up on my language, of course. If he was just offered, like if you could just take him, but they didn't want to. They wanted picks in 2030 and 2031. Whatever they intend to do with those, keep them, trade them, whatever. They wanted those more than they wanted Brown. That's just by nature of turning down the deal. And that, while it doesn't sound good, is just the reality of it. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, Brown is not a top 15 player in the NBA.
Absolutely, he is. Absolutely, he is.
Top 5.
You're totally wrong on that. Here's a guy who was in the MVP chase this year. Here's a guy who won a championship for us. Yes, I'm saying it. He won it for us a couple of years ago because Jason Tatum, again, didn't show up in the playoffs. The man was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. The man was a championship MVP. The guy led our team, which going into the beginning of last year, everybody had us already written off the map. He carried this team. The problem with Jaylen Brown, me being a big supporter of Jaylen Brown, his mouth, he needs to know that outside of basketball, there's certain things you say and certain things you don't say. And unfortunately, there's nobody in this corner is going to tell Jaylen Brown what to say. That's just the man that he is. Okay? No, I already knew that this was going to happen. And now we've got the worst case scenario. Now he's still on this team. I don't know what he went on live stream and say, but I'm telling you right now, this is reminding me now Jaylen Brown's going to be the Terrell Owens of basketball. He's going to be so disgruntled.
Doing sit-ups in the driveway.
Exactly. Or headstairs on top of a building. I mean, I am telling you right now, Jaylen Brown right now, and rightfully so, is pissed off. And I would be pissed off.
I would be pissed off too, and I would be, but I can't show it because it would show that they hurt me. Like I think if you go as an individual, if you go too all in on spiraling right now, it shows almost too much vulnerability. It's like after a breakup, you gotta keep it cool. You can't be like burning their stuff in effigy online.
Yeah.
You got to keep it cool a little bit, or it sounds like they got into your emotions.
Why burn it in effigy? Burn it right here in Boston.
That's why we hired the kid.
Boom.
Go to break. Go to break.
Don't cut that pot.